Good late evening, everybody. If you hear music in the background, it is a 3-hour stint of Zen music. I am going to start if I'm not out on the water and finally have a GoPro. I do most of the things at table, and I'm going to start having it in my background. I need to relax more. I'm stressing about way too much shit. I need to relax. So this is a very targeted video. This is not going to be like my norm. Okay, I am going to be very targeted about what I talk about, and I'm going to go through a lot of already prepared stuff that I have that I keep on me all the time. So, recently got clued into by my friend David, is also known as Wabbit Socks on Facebook. He is a fan of raves, clubs. He's a DJ, and he's also a very avid fisherman. Turned me on to these series of bodies from Bobby Garland. So they've got a minnow type body, but they've got the curly tail on the end. So the primary way that he uses it is a micro horsehead, otherwise known as Roadrunner. You can get them all over the place. I recommend anything jig head related from either Matthew Picklesummer of AZ Leadworks or my friend Raymond Ramirez in Colorado. He's awesome too. Rocky Mountain Custom Jigs. He makes soft plastics as well as jig heads, hand ties. Phenomenal dude. Customer service is absolutely top notch with both those people. Get Out and Fish for soft bodies as well. Matthew Picklesummer for soft bodies as well. Matt Nevison with Badass Baits, and of course 6th Sense, Bobby Garland. You know, there's a few of them. So, also one that I've been getting into that David reiterated the other day is Euro Tackle. They are coming out with some pretty phenomenal stuff. I used to be really into the Mega Bass Haze Dong and the whistle heads with the little spins like the old Pistol Pete's. But the problem with Mega Bass's products, as well as they work, is that they shred pretty quick. So I've been getting stuff that's a little more durable. Richard that does the Get Out and Fish brand. He makes very supple but very strong plasticine baits, or plastisol, I'm sorry. I think he uses a stronger blend, possibly, but his colors are insanely good. I mean, stupid good. So, with the Euro Tackle, and I always carry, let me grab them out since I've got the other. Oh, no, I got them already. Okay, so I've got. Well, I didn't have them both, apparently. Excuse me for a second. I have to correct the situation real quick. I evidently was not as prepared as I thought I was. Story of my life. Okay, there we go. Now I got my reference. Okay, so this is a number 4 with a 32nd head Matthew makes. I only use sickle hooks with ones that I have made. I love sickle hooks. And a 1/16. Now, I also go and flatten them with a pair of vice grips and super glue 3 millimeter for 1/32 through 1/24 usually, but I've also got 5 and 6 size millimeter eyes as well. I get them on eBay pretty cheap, and I'll get about half and half from what I get from Matthew, and I'll squeeze about half of them out and then leave the rest ball heads. There's just times where a ball header works. Plain silver works great. I mean, fish are going to strike it. They're going to strike it. So, in the Euro Tackle line, on a 1/32, I've got one of their little 2.5-inch paddles in kind of a bait fishy color. So they're pretty good in most waters. You know, I've been sitting in front of my TV researching stuff for the last 3 fucking hours. Not had one yawn. Been tired. I started making the video. I fucking yawn. Ay. But you'll see how it's pretty stiff, sturdy, but it wiggles. The second it hits the water, you barely have to move. And that's a key point I'm going to get into as far as yellow bass, especially on ponds, in a minute. Here's one of my 1/16 with the eyes on it, with one of those Bobby Garlands. Still maintains kind of the natural thing. Another one with the chartreuse. And they got really nice, subtle curly tails. They move really well. There's one more like the Fire Tiger with the pepper flake. And then, of course, the more like traditional two-tone shaddish. And then kind of a black sparkle works really good too in clear water. I like using underspins. The ones that I have right now are from Raymond Ramirez. I ran out of the rest of them. I kept tossing them where I shouldn't. And I'm kind of like that. I'll toss them to places where I really shouldn't go to get a fish. I take fucking chances. Okay. So, Sixth Sense has the frequency minnow. Crush City has the mooch minnow. I use both of those primarily in a morning dawn type color, which they both term differently, and a chartreuse, which they term differently because one's two-tone, one is not. But I have this particular kind of like the morning dawn with the transparent on one of my 1/16. But it's a shorter profile bait, but this moves all the time it's in the water. And the important thing to know with this type of tail, with Get Out and Fish's shad fry, these paddly tails, they make a subtle, more rapid but relaxed motion like an actual baitfish makes. That's why they get slaughtered. If I'm in bigger water like a lake, I will go for yellow bass, but this is a 1/8 Sixth Sense head with that shad fry, and I've got 3 or 4 colors in the shad fry. On Bartlett is insane for both bass and crappie. It's retarded how good it works. But the frequency minnow, especially on eyed heads that I eye. Now, I will tell you that when you flatten them out and you eye them, you need to shape the head a little bit once the glue has set, because sometimes they're kind of off. The profile's not perfect if you see that. So what I typically, when I take the time to do it, I take one of those 100 emery boards like women use for their nails, and I'll shape the head that way. And I've done that also when I was tying crappie jigs as well. Shaped them a lot, cut the collars off, and then dipped them in the, I had a flow bed with 5 containers and powder coat paint. I had a compressor. It flowed, so what I would do is had a heat gun on slow, high heat it up real quick, take it with pliers, dip it in, cure it in a convection oven. I had it all on my bench. Not that complex with the way I do things now. I'm trying to really, really pare down what I do. But those frequency minnows and the mooch minnows, they have a subtle motion. They just absolutely kick ass. So I do, the heads with these 2-inch from Get Out and Fish. They got different color variations. I do the 1/16 Sixth Sense with these size. Works really, really well. It's kind of hard to get them on straight all the time. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. 1/32, a lot easier to get on straight. One of the colors, I think that's the Grayland. It's got like some blue flake in the bottom. It's got kind of a spectrum flake in it. Really sick color. I need to grab it out of the pack so I can remember the name of it actually, because it's got kind of a funky name. I always forget it. The amount of Sixth Sense stuff I have now is just stupid. Okay, Microfiction. This one's in threadfin shad. Now, this is a 1/32nd, but you'll notice it still maintains a good profile, but it appears bigger because the fiction is a very small bait, this microfiction. And there's different sizes, but I'm paring down and doing very small baits. So I also have 1/16 with the 6 cents. I have the 1/8. I don't go to the 1/32 for them. I think I might get a couple. I saw them up on the shelf. I might get them for these microfictions. 6 cents does a really good job of pairing stuff together or having allowances for working across their line with certain heads. Really cool, by the way. I also never deny myself the clobber minnows. 1/32 head. That's one of the Tennessee minnows. There's the black and chartreuse. Slightly different color variation. And then, of course, the 1/16 chartreuse and white with the, whatever the hell they call this damn one. I can't remember. I'm not going to look at it either, but it's insane how well the clobber minnows work. Now, there's a couple culverts around the valley that I toss these into for tilapia and crappie, and they work really well, by the way. They work really good for that. So I'm going to put these away real quick just because I want to stay organized. I will be getting a GoPro setup this year. I will be doing it. I've got to pay off my car first. Once I pay off my car, I'm going to be getting in it a lot more. I will be. That's not a joke, but I may go the used route, older model to start with. I'm not really jiving well with spending like a lot of money, so I may start off fairly slow. Alright, now let's get into curly tails specifically. So I showed you the ones that had the underspins, the Bobby Garland ones. If you can find these bodies online or at the store, get them. They work exceptionally well, and I'm actually going to keep these with. I'm actually going to keep those with my curly tail bin. Another one that my friend David gave to me is the traditional ring style. They track in the water really well. Always turn the tail to one of the sides for traditional curly tails. Now, when you get a keeled one like Raymond's, where it's keeled with the profile, it's already to the side when you do it up. It's already done, gone and done. And I've got that one on an I2. Looks really good coming through the water, by the way. White is a staple in my box. Absolute staple. Another one that might surprise people, considering we're in the valley and we're not east or north or any of that, is I have a complement of fire tigers. These are Raymond's. I got some of his heads, the axe heads that he painted. I've got really super old one from when I was tying from Raymond, which actually the paint is kind of wearing off because I've had it in their soft plastics too long. So fire tiger, murky water, clear water, works great in both. I have again from Raymond a translucent to dark purple with a heavy flake. Those work really good in clear water. And this from Kalin's, I got them at Bass Pro. I'm not a really big fan of them, but they're a two-tone as well. They do work. We do not use them as much. I've got quite a few of them already set up. The one that I like the most out of everything I throw curly tail wise just for color combinations is that B with the red tail. However, and I haven't bought any lately because I've got other things costing me. OG Kalin's John Deere green two-tone. I don't know what it is about that particular combination of greens. It's light and dark. Across all the Arizona waters, absolutely annihilates panfish. Good Christ, does it annihilate it, dude. Like, I don't even have to say it. I mean, it's retarded how well it works. And of course, you just don't go anywhere going for panfish unless you got at least a couple rooster tails. I usually keep 1/24ths, sometimes 1/16ths. I've got 90, like right now, I've got 90 1/32 ounces. I'm almost out of the 1/16ths. I know they're in one of my bags, but I don't remember which bag it is. And I'm organizing a little more. Bear with me. Sorry, it happens. I'm kind of retentive. I'm autistic, so it kind of works that way sometimes. That needs to go that way. All right, now we get into my favorite segment. Hold on a second. Not quite. Get out and fish's shad fry. I need to speak about these for a minute. Their profile is really close to an actual threadfin shad. That 2.5, 2.8, 3-inch, depending on brand, these are 2.8s. It's that perfect larger profile, but still bite-sized for most fish. Larger crappie will munch these. They do not hesitate. White bass, wipers, hybrid stripers. And on the 6-inch head, the profile is just really cool. I initially really didn't like the fact that it has kind of an upturn, but that's actually a lot of minnows look that way naturally. So kind of relaxed my feeling on that a little bit, A little. Not a whole lot. A little, though. Get all that back. All right. My favorite segment. And I used to hate them. Not unlike Wacky Rig, not unlike Neko. Use them all now. Is spoons. Now, I like Little Cleos. I like Acme's got a whole assortment of different ones. Now, Euro Tackle has a little minnow-shaped body that's keeled and has a spinner on the back like the old Little Cleos hard baits. But they're like down to 1/32 ounce. I mean, they're little micros. And I was really tempted to get one the other day because I'm getting a lot of yellows out of Dobson, but I denied myself that because I've got other underspins. Now, when I use the Castmaster, I'm primarily using it for panfish, not bass. The bass still hit it, but it's primarily for panfish. So I have two size categories. I've got the 1/12 ounce. I've got the blue and silver striated and gold here. I lost my plain silver one today. Unfortunately, it just casted a little too efficiently on my 2-pound line. It got stuck in a fucking tree. And then I have the 1/8 ounce. Now, this one is just the copper gold, which is great for murky water, especially if they're not chasing bait at the moment. And then I've got that same blue with silver, where it's just silver on the back. It's actually a really cool way to do it. The way that they're made, they don't flip, they wobble, unless you pop them. They will turn over if you pop them. So even though they're advertised as not getting line twist, I still run a micro swivel. Honestly, I've got to go after work and get more micro swivels because I'm already out of them. Side note, if you use 2-pound line, you're going to lose shit. The benefit is that you feel everything and you cast a fucking mile. I'm telling you right now, there's something aerodynamic wise about these Castmasters. These 1/8s cast like 80 yards on my rod with my 2-pound line. It's insane how much they fly before they finally stop. And despite having the treble on it, believe it or not, they skip pretty damn good. So I'm waiting to use these on a dock on a lake. But the profile is the reason that it doesn't flip over unless you really pop it. You notice how it's kind of got a wedge and it's flat on the back? That's what gets that wobble. And honestly, I use the 1/12 more than the 1/8. If I'm on a main lake, I'll use the 1/8 to just straight pop under the boat. But these in ponds, they're insane. They're so light that if you start reeling even dead slow after it hits the water, it'll stay in that top like 6 to 8 inches of stratum of depth. It'll just sit there and hover and wobble. And the only time that'll change is if you just stop it, all of a sudden it flutters down. A lot of times when I first cast out, I always let it go to the bottom, because yellow bass, when they're not chasing bait, they're usually on the bottom or near it. I'll let it get to the bottom, and half the time it won't make it. It'll get about 3/4 of the way down and just get schnockered. Well, if it does not get schnockered, then what I do is I pick up my slack and I barely roll it. I get it to where it's just wobbling and I can kind of feel it. But every now and then I'll just pop it, and I'll keep reeling, pop, and I'll keep reeling, pop, pop. It's that pop and drop when you stop it after the pop that gets absolutely roasted. I mean, insanely roasted by big yellow bass. The Kastmaster is an amazing spoon. I like the other spoons, but I know with the other spoons I have to run a swivel. But it really shouldn't be a problem for me because I do it anyway with the Kastmasters. I just, I'm trying to save my money, man. I've been spending a lot of money lately. Like today, I made a video on gas and cars, the fuel situation. I maintain my car early all the time. My oil change is coming up in about another 300 miles, okay? And I did it early last time, so I'm doing it early again. I should really just get to 65K and wait until then, but I'm not going to. I am going to have them clean the mass airflow sensor and the throttle body injection unit when they do the oil. After I get that done, I go and I get my rotation balance on my tires at discount. The hilarious thing is that even though I bought everything at discount, they still charge for a rotation and balance. I think it's fucking criminal, but whatever. Anyway, long story, trying to shorten this up. I, at 90,000, am getting fuel system clean, transmission flush, coolant flush, all at the same time. I'm maintaining the fuck out of this vehicle because I am paying this vehicle off and keeping it for the foreseeable future. I've got a lot invested in it. I've had a lot of warranty work. I've had a lot of regular maintenance. I just don't logistically find that I have the want to get rid of it at this moment, especially when 4-year tags are the same price as my first year I had the car. My car insurance has gone down $60-something a month since it's gotten older. So, and I've gotten older too. But at 100,000 miles, this is where it gets interesting. I am getting both the upstream and downstream O2 sensors and a new catalytic. Now, the reason I say this, and I'm going to do this, is because I'm following the Japanese doctrine. They do everything early and their cars last forever. They are so obsessed with keeping their cars in good working order, so much better than we are. I was told when I first got the Kicks that I wouldn't have to get an oil change except for every 7,000 to 10,000 miles. I'm sorry, I don't accept that. Because until fairly recently, when synthetics started coming way more apparent than regular oil, and you almost never see regular oil anymore, I did it every 3,000. I'm actually tempted to go down to 3,000 miles on this car because it just keeps things so much better. Oil breaks down. So, yeah, are the formulas better than they used to be? Sure, but still, why wouldn't you keep yourself concurrently better, you know? So, I'm going to be every 5,000 when I get my oil done, I'm going to be getting a new cabin and a new engine filter. I'm going to do it every 5,000 miles. It is $18 to $20 out of my life. The life of a cabin and engine filter is supposed to be anywhere from 12 to 15,000 miles, and I'm going to do it every 5. So I got a premium brand, KA Automotive. The reviews were all good on Google, like top-notch shit, way less than OEM. So I hate to go off on a tangent like that, but it really does make a difference. And for people like me that fish, it is a tantamount and paramount importance to do such a thing. Take care of your vehicle. The last thing you want to do is be on a lake and be fucking stranded because something goes wrong. You know, like every time I go in for maintenance, I have them check my electrical system. Every time. Is the battery good? Is the alternator good? By the way, at 60,000 miles, I had to warranty a fucking alternator. Brand new fucking car, 60,000 miles, alternator fucking goes out. I won't even get started on all the shit. But I drive a fair amount because I fish, and I want to keep my shit solid. So, you know, I know the original point was because I'm spending money elsewhere, but it is important, you know, taking care of your maintenance on your motors on your boat, checking your electronics on your boat, checking your kayak for leaks. I mean, all these type of preemptive precautionary checks on equipment related to your life. And I do it on my fishing stuff too. I clean once a month. I clean all the guides on my rods. I use Q-tips and solvent, the same solvent, by the way, that I use on my gun, because the micro guides that I have on all of my handmaids are resistant to solvent. So I do solvent first. I go back with the second pass and do with Dawn water, and then dry them off. I take a bristle brush, scrub them really good, get all the junk off, and yeah, does it go through a lot of Q-tips to do that? But it's worth it, because 90% of my rods are handmade now. I don't want to break it anytime soon. I got a lot of time on them, and they're still ticking. So yeah, in fact, the rig I have, this getting to the rig I have for yellow bass and panfish. It's essentially a two-piece, three-weight panfish fly rod blank, two-piece, that I had. It's around 20 inches of Tennessee handle. I had contoured real small. The slip rings were sized the same. Micro guided, and I put 1000 size exclusively on it. I just get a Okuma A21 or 2100 or 21A. I don't know what they are. There's a couple different names for them, but they're 1000 size Okumas that are normally like $15 to $20 at Big Five, and when one goes out, I refurbish it, give it to somebody, and I get a new one. In the past with my ultralights, I used to take them apart when they broke, keep the parts, and get the same type of reel, so I had spares. And you know, I'm not doing that now, obviously. I mean, I maintain with Cal's heavy reel grease, which is a saltwater rated grease. It's good for the places you would put a hard grease, not the liquid. And I use Impro 7 that I use on my firearms for my actual reel oil. I do not use regular reel oil. It wears out too quickly. I take care of my shit, man. The 2-pound line that I have is Vicious High Vis. Fish don't seem to mind. It's 2 pound. The Okuma I have on that rod right now, shit, it can hold 300 yards. I mean, I don't always over spool it, but I spool it up pretty good. But I toss it into a lot of culverts and under docks and stuff. And over spooling, honestly, it gets problematic when you do that. But it doesn't get problematic when you toss the Castmasters. These things keep that line straight. Anyway, just, you know, explaining what I use. Now, tactics-wise, on most bodies of water with yellow bass, I have noticed, especially ponds, because they're all over the valley in ponds now, just like crappie are. I think our wonderful canal system for that, by the way, which is great because I love it. We're not Florida level with our canals, but we should be. I take whatever the lure is and let it get all the way to the bottom unless I see them obviously busting bait on the surface, and then I'll switch tactics and throw those ultralight little 1/32 ounce with the minnows. I let it get all the way to the bottom. I start slow rolling it. Sometimes I'll put my finger against the line when I'm reeling, and it kicks the bait, and it makes it look like how baitfish naturally move, because they never stay like exactly in one spot, and that elicits some big strikes at times. With the Castmasters and other spoons, I let it get to the bottom. I start slow rolling. I pop it once in a while, pop. Sometimes I'll go a little medium speed, pop, 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 drop, pop, 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 drop. It's that drop after popping it that gets the most hits. I'll go sideline along riprap along the shore and get just off the riprap and let it fall a little bit below the rock barrier, and then I'll slow roll. On Bartlett, that has gotten multiple crappie, multiple bass. So I would just say, experiment, see what works for you. What works for one person may not always work for another person. A lot of that has to do with confidence. A lot of it just has to do with that's just not always what they want. So, take your time. What I showed you, baits and all that, try them out. Get Out and Fish has got great baits. Matthew Picklesimmer for lead heads and soft plastic baits. Badass baits, Matt Nevison. Raymond Ramirez, man. I'm talking about the smaller stuff now. I know there's a couple other local makers out there, but those are the ones I primarily use for my micro stuff. I have caught a lot of panfish, some serious sized panfish, by the way. There's some mutant sized bluegill and Dobson now that have been allowed to kind of like roam and not been caught, that are now falling victim to, surprisingly, these 1/12 Castmasters. So figure out what you want to do. I hope the information helps.